Relationships aren't always sunshine and rainbows. Just like in nature, you can't have rainbows without a little rain.
Journey with us,
Shani Goodson
and Dr. Sundiata as we share stories and insights about our thriving, unconventional love life and our unique take on relationships and consensual non-monogamy. What's good? What's good?
Hey.
Back with another episode of SunShan Rainbows. How's everyone feeling?
What are we up to, like number 6?
Episode 6.
Hey, look at us, more than halfway through the season.
Yeah, this is our pilot season. So, your feedback is so important. Letting us know what you like about it, what you don't like about it. Should we bring it back?
Yeah, what kind of things do you want to see? What kind of topics would you want to hear about? Would you want to talk about? Anything. Open to all the feedback. So let us know.
Yeah. And so this is episode 6 of 8. It's going to be 8 episodes in the pilot season. And and then based on your feedback, we're going to decide, if we're going to bring it back and how we're going to bring it back. So yeah, definitely holla at us in the comments, leave us messages, and we'll go from there.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling today?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing good. Happily drinking coffee out of the Spread Love Wherever You Go mug. And y'all see the rainbows for SunShan Rainbows. Love it. Rocking the I Love Y'all tea. More on that, and I'm imagining season 2. I'm already thinking about season 2, and we're gonna be releasing some brand new. But these t-shirts are at I Love Y'all. I'm sorry, it's at loveyalltees.com.
Yeah.
Loveyalltees.com. If you like the tea, loveyalltees.com. We'll be launching some new designs soon, and or actually by the time you watch this, they will have been launched. So you'll see these classic versions, but you'll also see the new design. So if you're digging it, go check us out.
Yeah. Today,
Yeah.
what are we talking about today? A topic that I feel like comes up in my dating life pretty often. What about you?
You know what? It's something about being in the non-monogamy world where the topic of relationship titles comes up so often. I think it's because we're in this alternative space, unconventional space. So a lot of people come into it with unconventional ways and views and ideas, and something that I think most monogamous people probably give very little thought about. We talk about it a lot in the non-monogamy spaces, this idea of what's your title? What's our title?
What? You think that monogamous people don't talk about relationship titles? I think they definitely do.
I don't think they talk about the way that non-monogamous people do in terms of put on the escalator. I feel like monogamous people are going to say we're dating, and then once they decide that they're going to be committed in some ways, like boyfriend, girlfriend.
Yeah, but then they'll say that, they'll be like, will you be my girlfriend? Will you be my boyfriend? What? And they have these conversations like, what are we? We've been dating for 3 months. What are we? So I feel like relationship titles are ubiquitous in the romantic world. But I will say we have more of them in the non-monogamous world, I think. I think there's more variety for sure.
Okay. And the way I'm thinking about it is, so I feel like in a non-monogamy world, which we're going to get into in more depth, me being one of them, as someone who's a relationship anarchist, I skirt titles. It's not that important to me. And I feel like a lot of non-monogamous people feel that way. It's why do we even need a title?
That's really interesting because I find that in my non-monogamous experiences, people want titles still. And I noticed that when I'm in the community, online community, there's a lot of people who are like, I can't function without titles. I can't date these non-monogamous people who don't like titles. Some of them are like, really, I need a title. And some people are like, nah, I can operate in this space without one.
Yeah. And so that's what we're really going to be talking about, is just the nuances and the complexities around relationship titles in the non-monogamy world. And as you can tell from our initial banter, there's some nuances and complexities that exist.
Yeah, let's talk about it in our world. Let's talk about how we, use the word. Because I think we can speak for ourselves.
Yeah, that's a great place to start. You know what? I'm going to start with how I evolved and how I came into it. Because when I came into non-monogamy from conventional monogamous, marriage, coming out of a conventional monogamous marriage, when I started dating, I remember the initial people I started dating were my girlfriends, and they called me their boyfriend.
This is
And
before you were, this was back in the day, or this was when you first got into
when I
non-monogamy?
first got into non-monogamy,
Okay.
I accepted, I didn't have a problem with being
Being
someone's
someone's
boyfriend.
boyfriend. Okay.
You know what I mean? And then it really quickly, people use partner and boyfriend, girlfriend interchangeably. And I went along with it early on in my journey
Why are you laughing?
because that changed really quickly. And
Okay.
it changed really quickly. And I'll tell you the reason why it changed for me is because being non-monogamous for me and polyamorous, and for those who, you'll hear me use those terms interchangeably, but they do stand alone in a lot of contexts. They're like a both and in a lot of ways, or either, and it could be an either or. Um, so for me, I'm a non-monogamous person that is also polyamorous. So with that being said, for me, it's about liberation. It's about the benefit about it in it is just being free and being liberated. And if there was a certain energy behind those labels,
That's like your top priority when it comes to non-monogamy is your liberation, your
yes,
freedom and autonomy.
yes.
And so what happens with the labels?
So when folks start calling me their boyfriend, it felt like ball and chain. It felt like a lot of
Oh.
like the possessiveness was being laid on heavy.
Yeah.
And it was like that didn't feel good. It almost started putting me back to where I felt when I was in a monogamous marriage for all those years. And it's like that's what I was trying to get away from.
Right.
And it was like as soon as people put that title on me, the energy around possession just didn't feel good. And I started walking away from it at that point.
Okay.
What about you? You notice any transitions for you and all of that?
Yeah, I've never really cared about somebody being a boyfriend, a girlfriend, or whatever. Like that's not ever been a thing for me. Um, I like having something that's neat and compact to use as far as communication goes. So like, I like the simplicity of the word boyfriend, girlfriend, partner if I'm talking to people who don't know me that well. But like as soon as you start to know me well, I don't like to use the word. And the reason I don't like the word partner or boyfriend or girlfriend, well, I don't like boyfriend and girlfriend because to me it kind of feels childish at my grown age. Like I don't want to be a girlfriend. I'm a woman. But partner is hard for me too because I used to be like, whatever, I'll use that word. It doesn't matter to me. But I feel like sometimes people use the word partner and they throw it around real quickly. Like they're real quick to use it. They'll be dating you for like 3 months and then they're like, let's be partners. And then to them, that means there's some type of like commitment attached. So to me, it's less about possessiveness and more about, I think it's similar energy though, because you're saying like ball and chain. And I do think it's like this box. You get put into this box, and now all of a sudden, when there are expectations attached to
Yeah.
these specific words.
Yeah.
There's an expectation that's attached to my partner. My partner would never do that, and my partner should do this, and my partner should do that. And so now when you're no longer meeting these unspoken expectations, you're in trouble.
Right.
And you're supposed to know because you're my partner.
Right.
So I don't really have a problem using the word. If I'm being honest, like I don't have a problem using the word. I just need to make sure we agree on what the word means. If we both agree on what it means, I'm happy to use that word.
Okay.
But we got to talk about it first.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. For me, once a big part of this, being polyamorous and non-monogamous for me has just been about learning. And I think for a lot of people, they would agree. It's the same thing for them. It's a learning journey.
Yeah.
So I would be in these, Facebook groups, and just reading the different experiences that people had gone through. And then I would pick up certain books and read them. And all through that, I started to learn more about myself and also through the experience of dating people and becoming, partners with people and just trying all that on and learning different things. And I remember when the term relationship anarchy first came across my, awareness, and it just like stuck. It was like, yo, that resonates. That
Yes.
feels more like the way that I want to love and the ways that feel more natural to me. And it was at that time that I really started walking away. And one of the biggest reasons, let's say walking away from titles, and one of the biggest reasons is because of what you just said. One of the things that I noticed was that when people took on that that title of partner, boyfriend, girlfriend. Well, actually, rewind. I want to say that too. Yes, boyfriend, girlfriend felt like I was too old, too mature, too
Right?
grown to be somebody's boyfriend, and for someone to be my girlfriend. Like we grown. So,
Yes.
um, then I got to partner, and I was like, I'm digging partner, right? And then, even partner, what I noticed was there was all these predetermined like rules that
Yes.
people had in their head
From their past experiences.
from their past lived
Yes.
experiences
That you don't know about.
that I don't know about
Exactly.
about how I'm supposed to show up in a relationship once I have that title. It's like all this like downloaded, or let's say like this manual.
Yes, it's like a graduation.
Yeah.
It's like a graduation, and now you're on a harder level of relationship. You know what I'm saying?
And it was also like this manual that I didn't get to read or
yes,
study
communication is in
that I
there.
automatically was
Yes.
supposed to know all the answers to all of a sudden because I took on that title.
Hmm.
And for me, that didn't feel good at all.
Yeah.
And that's when I came up with, in my journey and in my relationship philosophies and things, with the idea of I don't want titles because I want to build my relationships from scratch. I want to build relationships from scratch, like no assumptions, right? No expectations. Let's communicate. Like if we're going to be in a high contact, close proximity relationship where we're spending a lot of time together, you have needs, you have fears, you have concerns. I have needs, fears, concerns, hopes, aspirations. Let's talk. Never assume. And let's build our relationship on what we can agree to in real time, brick by brick. And that's was a huge part of, my determination around walking away from titles, because I felt like if I didn't take on a title, then you couldn't put me in that box of that like pre-loaded data that you have in your head about what a partner is supposed to be based on the movies you've watched, the songs you've listened to, all the societal, data about what a boyfriend, girlfriend, or partner is supposed to be. We all come with that baggage. It's like it's indoctrinated. And I was like, how can we get away from that? Well, I felt like a great way to get away from that indoctrination is to say, no title. Let's start from scratch.
I feel like this is a very frustrating thing for a lot of people, though, especially if you're dating them. They don't like that. They want to know where they quote unquote stand. And what's really been funny in my experience in my relationship with Sundiata is how much our uh, unwillingness to use the word partner kind of has bothered other people.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, we've had times where people have been like, you say you're not partners, but you are.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, what business is it really of yours? They're like, for all intents and purposes, you are partners.
Yeah.
And so it's like this energy where it's like you have to box your relationship in. Like you must tell us what you are.
Humans, we love labels. We love being able to,
I love them too. I can't lie.
I get it. I really get it.
You just don't want to apply them to me. I always say that.
I totally get it. We like categorizing things. We like labeling things. It's the way it gives us a sense of safety and understanding. And I feel
commonality.
Yeah, and yeah, that too, and commonality. I remember one of my loves who was my partner, and she and I remained connected through me transitioning away from wanting to use that term. She struggled. She struggled big time with me moving away from that term.
If we're talking about the same person, she still struggles a little bit. Honestly, I think you struggle a little bit to move away from the word too, because it has like meaning for people.
So no, I don't. I don't struggle. I don't struggle with moving away from it.
You still use it, I think.
With other people?
Uh-huh.
That's news to me, y'all. Y'all, this is like real time breaking news story, because I don't call anybody my partner.
Oh my gosh, off the mic.
Yeah, we'll have to talk about this. I call somebody my partner. Y'all want this tea? Like, because like with the person I'm talking about, like one of the things I've said to kind of ease her anxieties around this, because she's a very orderly person, is like, you can call me what you want. If it helps to like ease your mind, especially when you're talking to other people, you can call me what you want, but I'm not going to, use the term. And I gave her all the reasons why. Another thing that I think for her and for others is that it brings about a feeling of significance. a lot of people like titles because of the significance that a title holds. The whole idea of someone being their significant other, right? That means something in our society. When you have a boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, husband, wife, like it has meaning, it has weight. So to just be connecting with someone and be in an intimate relationship and, you know, but without the title, it feels like, there's meaning. It's like we've been taught that, that shouldn't be the case for all the reasons that I'm sure you all who are watching or listening, are understanding or thinking about.
So what does like, you know, what's partner mean?
What does it mean?
Yeah, for you.
I think it means something different for everyone. So
Yeah.
another thing okay, so again, when I transitioned away, I used to tell people like, I'll never use the term partner again unless I'm truly partnered with someone on something in life. It feels really significant to me in terms of like partnership. Like we are doing something together. Like we're partnering in business, we're partnering to run a household, we're partnering to raise these kids. We're truly partnering. If we go out on dates and we're having sex, like that don't, for me, that don't equal partnership. Like for me.
Mm-hmm.
And
So like maybe there's a difference between like companionship and partnership. Is that like,
to me, yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
to me, yeah. Like I
Would you use
think
that word companion? I like that word, that's a good one. Like companion.
I would have to give that more thought and
Anyway,
like
that's a
really,
fun one.
really read what the definition is again. And like I have my understanding of what I think it is,
Okay.
but I want to read the definition before I decide if I would want to take that.
Because
But
maybe that can still give some significance, that idea or its companion feels like too casual. I'm just trying to think
but
of other things we could think
I
of.
don't mind using love. So like even love or lover, that's a title, right? It's a title in a sense.
So what's the difference? What's the difference between using the term like love and lover
Mhm,
and partner to you, like in your
mhm.
experience?
So again, there feels like there's more freedom and wiggle room in love and lover than it does in partner. And this probably has to do with the way I've experienced partnership. Now we're talking about it out loud like this. The ways that I experience partnership, like I said, in terms of like the clamps, the ball and chain, the expectations, the unspoken expectations.
Give us some examples.
Hmm. Like there's so many things about
Give it
rules.
actually, I just got one.
Okay,
I
good,
just
good,
got one.
good, good.
So one time, right, I was at this like social gathering, you were there, and this is a common, I think, partner expectation. You're not spending enough time with me. My partner would spend more time with me in a social setting like this. Like you're leaving me alone too much. You see, I'm over here alone, and you didn't come and talk to me. And that's like a very interesting one. Like you need to spend more time with me.
Mm-hmm.
Why aren't you giving me the amount of time
Mm-hmm.
that I should get as
As
your
your partner.
partner?
Yep. Yep. You spend too much time with other people. I
Yeah.
mean, you all can, well,
And
for
that was
those,
in a social setting.
and in social and polyamorous, non-monogamous social settings, like, we can be in a party of 30 people and be connected to like two, three people there, so as that's something that is unique that we have to navigate in social settings.
Or even just my friend. Maybe I'm just hanging out with like, you're here with your platonic friends too.
Mhm.
And it's like you're spending too much time with your, platonic friends, but a lot of
A lot of times that jealousy emerges when you're spending time with other like romantic sexual connections.
definitely.
But I'll give an example as well. So like this whole idea that when someone is my partner, I have to let them know when I'm gonna have sex with someone else. That's a big one.
Mm.
Like when you're quote unquote single, if you're in a monogamous context, you're not like reporting that people you're dating when you're having sex before you have sex with other people you're dating or whatever. And then in the non-monogamy world, a lot of people have different rules, different agreements in their relationships. And I'm the person that's like, look, no rules. The only agreement that I want in a relationship is that we're gonna do what makes us happy. Within the context of our um trust and
Care,
conversations around
consideration,
care
all those
consideration, but
things.
also like our risk tolerance and things like
Yeah.
making sure there's alignment in all those areas. But once there's alignment in those things, then it's like, do what makes you happy, I'll adjust. Like if I get jealous or, envious about anything in my relationships, it's like, I don't ever want anyone not to do what makes them happy in any given moment because of me. Like that's my work. I'll adjust. So that's the way I like to move to the world, the level of, again, liberation, freedom, and trust. So I remember when I started going into these partnerships early on in my, journey, where there was like these expectations around like reporting. Like I have to report what I'm gonna do before I do it with
That
someone, and it's just like these type of like rules and stuff that just emerge.
right.
Just
You have to let me know you're thinking about having sex with that person.
yeah, that takes away from, vibes, spontaneity, things that can happen. And like, this doesn't feel good. So that's just another example, of what like when people can call you their partner, that they just start to have these like expectations. Um, or I'll speak again for myself, people start to have expectations of me that just didn't feel in alignment with my need for feeling free and liberated.
Mhm. Or also, yeah, also that there's like an element of like feeling like you owe them sometimes when you use the word, like you owe them special treatment, like this type of like, and when you're more of a relationship anarchist and you see your relationships more flat than hierarchical in that way, it's hard to say, well, if I wouldn't report to my friend about this, why would I report to you about
Hmm.
this?
Right.
So I get that. I
Yeah.
understand that.
So this brings me to, like you said, our relationship, which like kind of a roundabout way of getting to it. Um, so when I met Shani, excuse me, like 2.5 years ago now, she immediately got to talk about, I don't do partnerships, I don't do titles. Like I don't do titles. Like let's vibe, let's get to know each other, let's see what emerges, let's see where we align, where we don't align, and then if I'm gonna call anyone my partner, it's gonna be because we are partnering on something tangible, you know. And that kind of gets back to what I think of relationship titles or labels and all those things. It's not that I reject all of them completely, because even I get it, calling someone a lover or a love is still a title or a label. Um, I guess the underlying theme is I was rejecting those feelings of possessiveness, etc. But so therefore, I openly rejected those labels and titles that were like ingrained in people's minds, like
That
boyfriend,
already had
girlfriend.
preconceived attached.
Yes,
They already had these notions attached. So you were trying to think of ways to use words
I
that
wanted
had
this.
fewer of
I wanted to
those.
disrupt that.
Okay.
I wanted to disrupt that energy. So by me simply saying I don't do titles to people as a blanket generalization, that disrupted something in them when they met me, that gave room for me to then say the things that I would say next about let's build from scratch. Let's get to know each other over time and see where we land, no expectations, etc. So I just want to disrupt the way that people will come into relationships on autopilot with their, mononormative programming. I want to disrupt that. So I would say I don't do titles. So Shani and I started like that. And it didn't ruffle your feathers. Like you were like, cool. Like I'm down like with everything that I was saying in terms of let's see where we land. Let's take our time. There's no rush. Let's just get to know each other. Like no one's rushing to jump into being a labeled relationship, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner that not only comes with those pre-downloaded programming, but it also comes with other people being able to look at us and have their, pre-downloaded programming,
And see what we are.
yeah, what's the word?
Portray.
Um, projected onto us.
Mhm.
Other people want to put us in the box that they understand, et cetera. Like I wanted to disrupt all of that. So you were down with that. You were okay with that. You were about to say something. Go ahead.
Because I will say, I feel like that only ruffles the feathers of people who have some possessiveness in them, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like I noticed that if people
Yeah.
are like not that's those two things are correlated. If
Mm,
people are like, oh, I need my titles, there's usually a correlation with some possessiveness there. I'm not saying possessiveness is neutral, in my opinion. We all have it to varying degrees. We all feel it to varying degrees, but
mhm.
um that's a sign of alignment to me.
Yeah.
Like, how possessive are you naturally? How possessive have you evolved to be? I put that in quotes. But yeah.
Yeah. So, as we were on our journey, just being us and being, you know, loving each other and showing up for each other in the ways that were natural and just organically emerged, I was inspired to create my own title because, I realized that it wasn't titles that I was afraid of rejecting, running away from. It was everything that we've, already articulated. But I want to share with you all what the term was that I came up with. And I would say this is probably like 8, 9 months into our journey or something like that, maybe. And I came up with this term called Libbei. Okay. And Libbei spelled Libbei. And this is how I defined it. I said, Libbei is derived from the word liberation, and it signifies a non-monogamous or polyamorous romantic relationship devoid of conventional relationship assumptions, norms, and expectations. Libby's cultivate relationships from scratch based on agreements that they both or all consent to. A person can have one or more Libbies. And here's some uses. Libby love, Libby life partner. You could say like Ada is my Libby, or Soon is my Libby love, or Monet is my Libby life partner. So the keys behind that, I think, as you all heard that definition, is basically, again, it's like, it's not the fact that I had an issue with titles, is that I had an issue with those pre-programmed, indoctrinated assumptions and agreements that people had in their minds about what those titles meant. So I decided, you know what? I'll create a title and define it to mean what I needed to mean based on how I want to show up in relationships. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I feel like it's really when this is like a very Sundiata-esque, to make up a word for something. Uh, he's like, I'm just make up a word. I don't like that word. Make up a new one. I feel like the way that I kind of deal with the word partner is, so like when it comes to you, for example, I really I will refer to Sunjata as my partner if I am in a largely like monogamous and kind of formal space. So like in a work setting, I might call him my partner. Um, but if I'm in like a casual setting with other people who are also non-monogamous, no, they're gonna get this like explanation. I'm gonna call him my love. I'm gonna call him my boo. I'm gonna call him something more vague that might encourage some more conversation. Because I don't want anybody to think that I like the word partner. So I don't want anybody in my dating circle to think that I like that word. And the reason I say this is because I feel like people rush into it. And when you're not willing to give it to them, they feel a little offended. They're like we're not moving up the escalator. So for me, using the word partner or not using it is about staying off the escalator. More than anything else, it's about keeping me off the relationship escalator. I don't want to be there. Like I don't want to be on that. I don't want to move up these ranks. I don't want to graduate to partner. I just want us to be. And the reason I can call Sunjata my partner, even in like a formal setting, is because we do so much together that that's how we do a lot of things together. So it's like, yes, this is my partner in the house, in the business, in this way. So it's like he said, we partner on things.
Yeah, tangible things.
But dating and like you said, dating and having sex, those are not things that feel like partnership to me in life.
Yeah. And I want to correct something. I said it's 8, 9. No, I did this over a year. We were over a year into our relationship before I came up with this. Now I'm looking at the date.
Oh yeah,
that.
Really?
Yeah, before I released, I believe that I released this. So this whole Libby defined. I have an article that I wrote about it that you can find at our Substack.
Maybe it came up 8 or 9 months into the relationship in your mind, and then you thought about it. I remember you when you were like, "I'm writing about this. I'm publishing this today."
Yeah, that was April 23 that it was published. So
wow.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it was over a year, more than a year into our relationship.
The other thing about partner, the use of the word partner, I think is like when it's time for your relationship to quote unquote change or transition.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you take that word away from people, it feels like a downgrade. It feels like a demotion. It feels more hurtful. And that's another reason why I don't particularly like to use it, because I feel like a lot of my relationships ebb and flow. Like we have moments where we're feeling really connected, and then we have moments where we're feeling more distant. So it's like, if we're having moments, long moments of feeling distant, do we now not call each other partner anymore? Because ouch, right? So I also try not to use that word there, because I want,
Yes. I'm so glad you brought that in. It's like this, like you said, this feeling of loss, this feeling of failure if there's a transition. And I feel like by being more, fluid and that you don't get that feeling of such a huge dropping off a cliff. It's just like, we just love each other. We're just two people who love each other. It's going to look different at different times in different ways, etc. And some people have a hard time doing that if someone's their quote unquote partner, boyfriend, girlfriend. Whereas based on relationships I've cultivated and at this stage of my journey, I have a lot of fluid relationships because there is no heavy expectations, because I feel like because those terms and those titles aren't there in those ways, it allows for more freedom and flexibility in those ways.
Yeah, there's like this attachment to the titles that almost translate, it like carries over into your relationship, and the relationship feels less about connection and more about attachment to the title.
Yeah, which you should be doing because you have that title.
Yeah.
So now we're going to transition into one of our segments, and it's called
Well, That Went Left.
That Went Left.
It's about breakup stories, lessons that we've learned in this non-monogamous world.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll entertain you all, and also, you might learn something through our breakup stories.
So I'll give y'all a quick one. In my very early non-monogamous days, I would say I'll probably say the first breakup I had in the non-monogamous space was about relationship titles. We started using the word like too early, in my opinion, and all of these expectations came up. It was like, oh, how are you going to do that to me? You're my partner. And it was a lot about time spent and who I was spending time with, and feeling like you need to have some influence over who I spend time with and how I spend my time. And actually, that's a huge reason why I stopped using the word partner. Or let's say this, part of the reason why I decided to start using the word partner with a lot more discernment, right? Start using the word partner after a long time. And wouldn't you believe, like, that's right around the time that I met Sundiata. So you already know when he was telling me, it takes about a year to get to know somebody, and let's see where we land, because this is his language. And, I don't want to use the word partner, but, I love you. Like, that's his type of energy. I was on board. I was like, yes, let's do this. Let's just see how we love each other. Let's just see how things go. So it was just the perfect timing. Like that breakup and the way we started, it was just like, I learned the lesson right in time to meet you,
That's fascinating, because that, like, you learn how that word felt, and everything we talked about, like the expectations that he had for you, that he never communicated ahead of time.
No.
It was like in real time, when you did something he didn't like, you weren't supposed to do it because you were his partner.
And then he would keep saying that.
Emphasizing
he would
partner.
keep saying that. And then I would be like, well, what did I do? And he's like, my partner wouldn't do that. And I'm like, but what? What is it that your partner wouldn't do? And it was like, we couldn't even articulate that.
Oof.
It was rough. Yeah. So that was a definite clear misalignment.
Yeah. Well, that's a cool story. And I'll maybe in another show, when we have another segment, you will hear some of mine as well. But yeah, I think that was a good show.
Way to close it out.
A great way to close it out. And we appreciate you all for being on this journey with us once again. And as we said at the beginning, please let us know what you like, what you don't like. Leave us comments, feedback. Also visit loveYallTees.com to check out the t-shirts. Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes as well. And I'll put a link to the Libbei Defined article, etc. But yeah, until next time. Love y'all. Peace. Thank you for listening to SunShan and Rainbows. If you enjoyed the show, please show your support by liking, commenting, and sharing this episode.
Please also subscribe to our media platform, Sustainable Solutions Media, and follow us on Instagram at Sustainable Solutions Media.